I would love to give you the opportunity to share what this new book is and talk about it before we dive in.
Gnar Country is a sort of a crazy wild book. It is first an attempt to solve sort of this ongoing problem I've had in peak performance, other people have had in peak performance. First of all, what do we mean by peak performance? Peak performance is nothing more or less than just getting our biology to work for us rather than against us. To do that, there's a series of things you want to sort of do every day and every week, right? It's a checklist in a sense. There's other things going on, but it's essentially a checklist. It is really hard at somebody who's at the front end of a journey, who's coming into these ideas of, oh, wow, I can actually do so much more than I thought. What's this like at the front end of the journey? Two things are really difficult to understand. One, what does it look like every day? And two, how does these little things that you do every day add up into really big leaps, right? I always say peak performance works like compound interest. A little bit today, it doubles tomorrow, and sooner or later, it starts to get a little exponential. That is very hard to convince people of on the front end. So one, Gnar Country is this sort of radical experiment in both peak performance and peak performance aging, which is literally just applying the ideas of peak performance to the challenges and opportunities in the second half of your life on a day-to-day basis. So people can really see, what does this look like practically? And unlike my other books, which I've written about this subject, which are much denser, much more science heavy, this book is application heavy. So it's essentially an adventure story, and it's much more fun. If neuroscience isn't your thing, right? It's much more fun, which means that it's a lot easier for anybody to sort of gain the information. That's the big picture. What the subtle picture is, there are a bunch of old ideas about aging that in the lab over the past 20 years no longer appear to be true. One of the big ones is the idea that old dogs can't learn new tricks. So I decided in my 50s, because I'm a little out of my mind, I was going to take a bunch of these new ideas, what you could call peak performance aging, and blend them together into a learning protocol and see if I could use that to teach myself how to park ski at age 53. Park skiing is the discipline of skiing that involves doing, tricks off jumps and on rails and boxes, wildly acrobatic, it's dangerous, and for about 12 different biological reasons. It's basically, once you're over the age of 35, it's very difficult to learn. 45, you're downright impossible. And by the time you get to 53, when I started, it's just totally crazy. The book tells the story of that experiment. The experiment was a radical success. And the thing I want to mention before you sort of dismiss all this out of hand is, one, the peak performance tools work the same at any age. Two, and this is really key, aging's a fact of life. It's a process. Old is a mindset. Old is a mindset that starts to set up in our 20s. Peak performance aging, actually, the mental side of it also starts in our 20s. There's stuff you want to do in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s and your 50s that really will determine the success at the tail end of your life.